Hello, everyone. This is Terry with Futures IO, and as always, I would like to thank you for joining us today. It's my pleasure to welcome back Jeremy Tang and Zac White from SharkIndicators for today's webinar, Backtesting Made Easy. Throughout the webinar, if you have a question, please feel free to type them into the questions box. We'll do our best to answer them by the end of the event. This webinar will be recorded and posted on the Futures.io website within 24 to 48 hours. If you're watching this afterwards on YouTube, do us a favor, give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the webinar. And as always, please feel free to share, comment, subscribe to our channel. It really helps us a lot. We're sharing news, events, and information. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter using that Futures.io. And now, without further delay, I'll hand it over to Jeremy, and you'll get the pop-up to share your screen again.
Okay. Just make sure I'm sharing the right screen here. You guys should see kind of a disclaimer.
Yes.
On your
Looks good.
Looks good?
Yep, she's
okay.
all yours.
Awesome. All right. Let me get back there. Getting ahead of ourselves. Okay. My name is Jeremy Tang, as Terry mentioned, and it's always a pleasure to join you guys and being hosted by Futures.io. Actually, honestly, you guys are probably one of the most sophisticated group of traders out there in terms of a community, and so we're always glad to be presenting in front of you guys. With me here today is actually Zac White as well. How you doing, Zac?
Hey, good, Jeremy. Yeah, good to see all you guys here today.
Yeah, we're basically drawing up on the close of probably the most insane year, at least in my lifetime. But today's topic is going to be about backtesting, which I kind of want to ask you guys first before we get into it. How many of you in this room have actually performed a backtest before on a trade system that you've either owned or maybe that you're trying out? Yes, many. Okay.
Right off the bat.
We have some pretty elite people here. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you guys are probably programmers too.
Are you guys programmers as well, or are you guys doing it manually? Just curious.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, we definitely have some programmers. Oh, we have some people that actually paid programmers.
Paid programmers, right. Yeah.
Amazing.
Makes a lot of sense. Saves you a lot of time if you had something programmed up. So, right.
Yeah. So obviously we have a very sophisticated crowd here today. But I want to kind of get into, well, I got a little slide here that says backtesting sucks. For the most part, if you're not a programmer, or perhaps even if you are one, backtesting is a very tedious and almost like a chore, brought with all sorts of caveats and whatnot. And the reason why is because, let's assume let's talk about the 90% of people out here that aren't programmers. Generally speaking, if you are trying to backtest a system, you kind of have to do it the old-fashioned way, which is you got to pop open a chart and identify your entries, generally by studying it and marking it up, looking at the indicators, and tabulating the results using maybe an Excel spreadsheet or something like that. And as you can imagine, if you've never done this before, take my word for it, and probably anybody else in this chat that has done it this way can probably attest to. It's not only extremely tedious, but very time-consuming. And
yeah, that's no joke. The first trading coach that I hired, that was one of my homework assignments, was to go through charts and mark them up, and then I don't remember how, because this was like over 10 years ago, but somehow I converted them into a PDF, and then basically emailed them back to him, so he could look at my markings on the chart to see if I was learning the system correctly. And man, was it tedious, I tell you what.
and and of course it's prone to a lot of error too. Looking at those charts, you can start to get cross-eyed and tend to miss things. And not to mention, maybe you've done this process once, realized at the end of the day your system really isn't kind of ideal. It's not making the money you want to, or maybe, you know, there's certain things about it that you find there's too much of a drawdown in certain areas. Generally speaking, you're not going to get it on the first try, almost never actually. And so usually what happens is you've actually got to iterate. You've got to change it up, tweak it a little bit, go back to the drawing board, and then redo all those steps again. And so when you take that into context, you're looking at spending a tremendous amount of time, not just doing it once, but doing it X number of times until you've got something that you would deem tradable. But, you know, we kind of live in this day and age of computers. Really, this is what a computer actually specializes in. Why not use the computer to actually do the tabulation and the calculations of the results, right? No need to actually do that manually. In fact, but
yeah, that's what all the smart programmers were doing in the room here, right? They were using the power of the computer to do their back testing. Yeah,
that's right. And so let me ask the non-programmers actually. What do you think it really takes in order to get a computer to backtest? What do you need? If you really think about it. An idea, yeah, concept, okay. Patience. Right. Money.
That's probably the best answer right there, patience.
We get replay capability, yes. Okay, so, and of course, all those things, a desire for punishment, that's very good. Okay, so obviously all those things are needed, but just kind of one sort of big hand waving thing that's sort of missing, right? And the thing is, if you want a computer to actually do a back test, you have to be able to describe to the computer how you want to trade. That means your entries, how the trade management is going to go, how your money management is going to go, how your risk management is going to go, how it's going to manage the trade during the life of the trade. Really, what you actually need is a full-blown auto trader. And yes, as Ben Mark also points out, historical data. So if you got all those things, right? But the big thing, right? Because NinjaTrader actually supplies all those things. So presumably, you also supply the idea, and the patience and the concept. But in order to take that idea to fruition and actually use it in the computer to backtest, what you actually need is a full-blown auto trader. That's the only way to do it. Otherwise, you're really just doing it manually. And that may sound kind of easy on the surface, but those of you guys in the crowd here that are programmers, I'm sure can attest to that it's a lot harder than it looks. Hollywood always makes it sound easy. Just, you know, build a robot and away you go. But generally speaking, you know, if you're actually programming an auto trader, that in itself is also wrought with
yeah. Maybe someday we can ask Alexa to trade the ES for us, you know, and make $200, but not yet. She doesn't understand when I ask her to do that for me.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully we have the next best thing.
We're not quite there yet. So in reality, if you want an auto trader, you've got to be looking at reams of code, and you've got to understand. You got to be a fairly sophisticated programmer to pull it off. Okay. We are going to show you today a much easier way to do it using our products.
Not as easy as Alexa, but
yeah, not using Alexa.
Close.
Yeah. So we're going to use basically our two products to show you how to build an auto trader so you can backtest. Just before I kind of get into this little example, which will help us illustrate this, we have two products, one called Bloodhound, the other called Blackbird. I'm going to show you the first one, Bloodhound, which is basically a signal generator. And then once you've got those signals, you can plug them into a trade management component, our second software called Blackbird, which will actually perform the trading. And if you get all this stuff kind of in the computer, essentially, it can simulate the actual trades, and then voila, you could do the backtesting. So let's dive right into it, and let's show you kind of how we go about doing that.
Well, first, Jeremy, let me just let everybody know this idea. As you can see from the text there, it's a simple concept that uses a modified RSI indicator, right? So Stocks and Commodities called it the Rocket RSI indicator. And at the end of this, if you're interested in this indicator, just to keep piling more indicators onto your chart. If you're interested in getting a copy of the Rocket RSI indicator, we're going to have a link for you guys at the end of the webinar, and we'll email this indicator to you guys. So if you find this indicator interesting.
Yeah, so again, as Zach mentioned, we have implemented, we're going to show you how basically a simple system, just something to work with to show you. I'm just going to describe the system here so we kind of have some basis of discussion. But basically, this way this trade idea, this trade concept works is you have this Rocket RSI, it's kind of this oscillating indicator, and it hits these extremes. Basically, if it goes below -3.7 or above 3.7, that's considered an extreme. And we just want to capture those points immediately after it hits those extremes and turns around. And that'll be our entry signal. Now, just to be sure, we're not advocating in any way this particular system, nor do we as a company advocate any particular trading style or system. This again is just an example to show you how to build an auto trader so that we can backtest with it. So I've got on my chart here the Rocket RSI. And then the first piece of software that we're going to show you called Bloodhound. This Bloodhound here is a piece of software that we produce. And I'm going to start again with identifying these extreme points on the Rocket RSI. And the cool thing about Bloodhound, as I mentioned before, it's a signal generator. And so what I'm just going to quickly do here is just put a little note in there so we know what kind of system we're building, just for our own purposes. And we're going to analyze, as a first step, we're going to analyze the RSI. Okay, so I'm going to take the RSI, the Rocket RSI, I should say. Right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just mark in that extreme 3.7 and -3.7, as I mentioned before. And I'm just going to configure the outputs so that we're going long when it's at the bottom extreme, and we're going short when it's at the top extreme, because what we want to do is capture these points here where it hits these extremes and then turns around on us. Now notice how I just basically, I plug this into we call these little guys solvers. We just plug them in here, and immediately our chart is dressed with all the areas that I've told it to mark up. And so you can see very quickly, as opposed to say programming this by hand, we could just mark up the chart with, and we can mark it with anything we want. I mean, we can use this any way we would like. Some people actually like to use this as like a way to just mark up, bullish and bearish zones or something like that. But we're gonna just paint this chart up, if you will, so that it looks like a bunch of entry and entry signals. Now, one little thing I'm going to do, just a slight detail, is we actually want the point where it's turned around, right? We don't want just the maximum and the minimum here. We actually want just the point right after, the bar right after where it's turning around. So I've actually displaced everything just so it can match it up with another solver that was basically going to be the inflection solver. We want to see the inflection of the RSI. So let me go in, select the RSI again, Rocket RSI, I should say. All right, and now I've marked up the chart every time these Rocket RSIs. The Rocket RSI has inflected. So in other words, went from a positive slope to a negative slope, or a flat slope to a negative slope, or vice versa, right? So here's an example of it hitting an extreme up here, and then turning around. And that's the precise bar that we want to find. But we've got some extra ones in here that we don't care for, like this one here, these two here. Okay, these didn't really hit the extreme, right? But nonetheless, it went from a negative slope to a positive slope, right? And that's why we have this green here. What we want to do is kind of take this and actually combine the logic so that we're showing all the instances on the chart where both situations occurred. In other words, we've hit a maximum and rebounded. Okay, so that's exactly what I've done here. And if we go back, all right, now we have essentially some entry signals that we can play with and test out in a trading system and backtest to see how that, see how the results look. And that's kind of the beginning of the journey. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this and I'm going to pass it off to Zach. He's going to take this Futures.io Rocket RSI Bloodhound template and stick it into our other piece of software, Blackbird, and use them as entry signals.
All right. Yeah. Hold on. I lost my mouse for a sec. There we go. All right. So getting the screen switched over here, guys. And there we go. All right. Should be coming in here in just a minute. Okay. All right. Actually, I'm going to ad lib for just a second here. I just kind of realized, normally I give myself an introduction here, and we actually kind of forgot about this. So, and I'm sure there's some people in the room who recognize me that come to my workshops quite often. But for our software, for Bloodhound and Blackbird, I host weekly live training sessions to teach you guys, how to use the software. So obviously, we don't expect you guys to just learn this stuff right off the bat. It's just like, you don't expect to learn how to trade instantly. So we host these weekly training workshops for our software here, and everybody's invited. This is just an open environment for people to come in, ask their questions, or maybe just watch, or take a little look at the software, see what other people are doing in the workshop. So you guys are all welcome to attend the workshop anytime, if that works for you. So and to get here, you just go to our Shark Indicators website and then go support and then training workshop. It's right there, right under the support is the training workshops, right? So that is basically kind of my main hat that I wear within the companies. I do the software training for you guys. So, all right. So let's get back to the demonstration here. So I have the same chart up here that Jeremy had, and I got the signals on here. But I also have on the right-hand side here is Blackbird, right? So again, if you want to backtest, if you want the computer to backtest for you, all charting platforms, all trading platforms have a strategy class, right? Now, you guys are probably all familiar with the indicator class, right? So think of indicators as just doing the fancy mathematical calculations, doing all the math. Now, the strategy class, that's what manages orders, right? So if you want to do backtesting, right, you have to submit, simulated orders. That's the only way that you can calculate, the trade data to see if a system is making money or losing money, right? So that's what the strategy class does, is it submits orders, cancels orders, and calculates whether the orders were filled or not filled, and so on and so forth. So, and some of you, probably a lot of you haven't used the strategy class before, but with NinjaTrader, that is what the strategy tab is for here, is it shows you your strategies, right? So I have a black strategy on my chart, and this is what I've got system here. Yeah. So first thing I need to do is open it up, and so the next thing I'm going to do here is I need to provide trade signals, some kind of signal source that tells Blackbird when to enter a trade, right? So open up the signals, and we're going to use Bloodhound here. You can also use third-party indicators from other companies. So there are a few other companies out there that do produce indicator-based, trade signals. I think just to kind of name drop here, Indicator Warehouse has a DTS system that I know it at least it used to generate indicator, trade signals. So, so there is that option as well. So, all right. So anyways, we're going to use Bloodhound, and I need to load in, this Bloodhound system here that Jeremy just built. So let me just get that done.
So while he's doing that, actually, someone's just asking what the difference between Bloodhound and Blackbird is. So just to be absolutely clear, the difference is essentially the functionality. So Bloodhound is an indicator, and Blackbird is a strategy in NinjaTrader. And so what that means in Bloodhound, think of it, at least in this role, Bloodhound can sort of wear many hats. But in this particular auto trader that we're building, Bloodhound is going to be the signal generator. So it's an indicator that's essentially marking up the chart with those green and red stripes. And then Blackbird is going to take those signals from Bloodhound and trade with it. So actually put the trades on, manage them, and as you're going to see, it's actually going to stop right now. So you'll have a better picture of what that is.
Yeah. All right. So I have basically the trade signals, plugged into Blackbird. And so now what the strategies do is they manage your orders, right? So I need to tell Blackbird, do I want to enter with a market entry order? Do I want to use a limit, or a stop entry? How is your, how are you getting in here? So I'm just going to do a simple market entry, because we're just doing a first iteration, right? So again, what we're trying to demonstrate is basically the kind of the basics of how somebody goes about testing a trading idea, whether it's a new idea that you've come across on the internet or an old idea that you've always kind of wondered, how does this old idea that you've been using, how does it backtest? So and since I really have no idea about this system, I'm just going to start with a 2 ATR profit target and let's see, a 2 ATR stop loss here, right? So basically a 1-to-1 ratio. And so let me just go in here quickly and tweak that to make it a 2 ATR stop loss there. All right, so we have everything we need to set up a basic auto trader, right? We have the entry signal source, that tells when to enter a trade. And we have the entry order, profit target, and stop loss set up. So now we're ready to do some back testing here. So I'll just click OK. And to be clear, NinjaTrader actually does the back testing. So, and to get the back testing results, I do need to reload the chart here. So that way Blackbird can recalculate everything from the beginning of the chart. All right. So there we go. So we can see, the trades now, right? NinjaTrader is showing us the trades on the chart, that Blackbird had entered there. And to see the backtest results, at least within NinjaTrader, you go to Ninja's strategy performance. And there we can see the Blackbird strategy. And then we can select historical results there. And pull this up. And I gotta say, surprisingly, it actually made $400 here. Not too bad. But, the important thing here is we want to take a look at the analysis. And what's really critical, right, is you want to look at the equity curve. And obviously, this does not look very good, right? So to start off, that doesn't look all that great. So then the next step, is to kind of go through that iteration phase that Jeremy kind of explained there. So let's get rid of that. And let's apply some constraints here. Like, for example, most people won't be trading overnight, right? So this backtest results, let's see here, let me just kind of scroll back. Yeah, so here are some trades, in the middle of the night, right at 11 p.m., 1:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, right? So most people aren't going to be trading, in the overnight session. So we can go to the scheduler and let's put some constraints on this. And let's only trade the US equities RTH, right? RTH is regular trading hours. And there we go. All right. And so this green block tells Blackbird when it's allowed to enter a trade. And then we also have this force trades to exit as well. So that way our trades are closed out by the end of the day, or at least by the end of this block of time here. Let's just set that to 0 there. So, all right, so there you go. There's another iteration. And so now I can just go reload the chart again. And then NinjaTrader will generate another set of backtest results. And so now we can see there's no more trades in this overnight session here. If I scroll back, basically there's the trades limited to just the RTH. And so now I can go to strategy performance again and go to historical and see, did that make things better or worse? And actually, surprisingly, it made things worse. Let's take a look at the equity curve. So now it's all underwater. So, so we kind of, we're getting, we're kind of getting a feel, for this trading idea. Maybe it does need to trade 24 hours. I'm not quite sure. But also, maybe adjusting the stop loss would help. So instead of a 2 ATR, let's make this a 1 ATR and do some, generate some results like that. And also, let me point out here, I'm sure people are probably asking, this is just 30 days of data right now. Yeah, so this is 30 days of data right now. So let's see here. Tightening the stop loss, really didn't help any. If anything, I think it made it a little worse, but still kind of the same equity curve there. So heck, who knows? We know that some people, swear by stop losses, and other traders swear that stop losses are for suckers because the market loves to go hunting for stop losses. So let's see what happens if we remove the stop loss. And what the heck, we're just back testing, right? So let's do a reload again, and we'll back test this without a stop loss. And so let's pull up the performance report there. And that started making a little bit of money there. Let's take a look at the equity curve again there. Still we have this big iceberg, for at least the most recent 30 days here. So, so that's basically kind of the, part of the backtesting iteration. But also, I want to move forward here and show something that I noticed when I was rehearsing for this. So, let me see here. Let's grab a little circle. So when I was kind of, testing this Rocket RSI, for our demonstration, I kind of noticed here that it seemed like this Rocket RSI seemed to give slightly better, if not just better, entry points at the beginning when the Rocket RSI first, hit its maximum value or, maximum peaks here. So instead of waiting for the Rocket RSI to turn around and reverse directions, what if we moved the entry signals to, what if we shifted them backwards to when the Rocket RSI first, hit that maximum peak point? And if we look at my cursor here, right, that would be a short signal at the top of this peak right here, right, at this high point. So that would take the sell signal from this bar and move it forward onto the peak right here if we did that shift. Let's see, this buy signal, it would move it to about there. So that, that doesn't look like that helps much. The sell signal, which shifted over a couple of bars. So that obviously that would help a little bit. This sell signal, same thing. It would put that sell signal at the peak here. That would definitely help. And this buy signal, well, this buy, we can tell it's a loser. So that's a wash. The sell signal, it moves it over a little bit. It's kind of hard to tell if it really helps. I don't think it really does. This buy signal, well, that definitely doesn't help that. But overall, when you kind of scan through back a few days and you kind of shift all these signals over, the fact that I can see these signals on the chart clearly made it really easy and fast for me to go, what would it look like? I could do an easy visual side-by-side comparison. I could say, sell signal there or sell signal there, buy there or buy there. Is it helpful to shift all these signals? And overall, visually, it did look like it was helpful to shift this over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build that out real quick here.
I guess while Zach is doing that, someone commented, well, there is a NinjaTrader strategy builder built in, which basically kind of is a code generator, sort of gets you off starting and whatnot, which is a decent starting point. But the stuff that Zach is doing right now with our software and able to sort of in real time just quickly reconfigure the signal entirely is just simply not possible in the strategy builder of NinjaTrader. And if you're going that route, you'll quickly learn that you've got to be a fairly decent programmer still to actually work with it and iterate your system. And not only the fact that you're working with code, but to do some of the more sophisticated things, like someone actually asked, hey, can you actually have your profit target trail or be updated or even be placed based off an indicator? Well, that's trivial with our software. But if you were to do that and say the strategy builder, you got to hand code that. And believe me, it's not as simple as it sounds to do.
Yeah, good points. I mean, I got to hand it over. I got to, tip my hat to NinjaTrader. Their strategy builder, it is great, but it definitely is still pretty slow, pretty darn slow. And hopefully you guys can see that, Bloodhound makes building something so much faster.
But it's not only slow, but it's like you're limited as well by your coding ability.
Yeah. So so while Jeremy was talking, I basically implemented this new this shifted over signal here, and I just reloaded it into Blackbird here, and I set my entry signals to this new signal here. I just called it the Rocket RSI at max value. All right, so as soon as that Rocket RSI hits its kind of maximum value there, we're getting that signal, right off before it turns around. So let's now test this idea. And so let's just do another reload there and see what happens here. And there we go. So again, let's go into Ninja's strategy performance report here, pull up the historical results, and and actually we can see, surprisingly, it seemed to have made a huge difference. So now it's $5,000, $5,000 there. And let's take a look at the equity curve, because really that's kind of matters there. On this equity curve, I would say definitely looks like a safer bet, right? You're gradually, moving from the bottom left to the upper right on that equity curve, right? So, with this, so at some point, you're gonna be satisfied with just kind of backtesting on some short data. And so eventually, what you're going to want to do is backtest, as much data as you have on hand. So most data feeds should be able to provide you at least 1 year of data, right? So that's what we have. So my data feed will give me 1 year of data here. So I'm going to plug in 1 year of data, and changing the number of days basically reloads the chart here. So that's automatically going to force the strategy, Blackbird, into recalculating the backtesting here.
And while that's happening, I'm just going to answer a quick question here. Jay Carton is asking whether or not our software, Bloodhound or Blackbird, will work with third-party indicators. And the answer is yes. It will work with any indicators that are installed on your computer, just as long as they kind of output a plot or some sort of data that can be read in, which is the vast majority of indicators.
All right, so yeah, so here we go. Here's 1 year of data now. So yeah, running through this, we can see it kind of was flat for about a third of the year, and then the equity curve just ramped right up right there. So that's 1 year of data.
Yeah, if you kind of look at that too, right? That actually is quite curious, because you think now that you can see this, right? That mark where it really took off is precisely the point where what was happening in the world in 2020. So it's like the market conditions changed.
Yeah,
yeah.
Right about here where my cursor's at is when the COVID lockdown pretty much hit the markets. Yeah, when most of the countries around the world went into lockdown mode, and the markets, took a deep dive back in late February, and March. Yeah, and then here we are in mid-March, late March, and that's when this thing ramped up. So yeah, and the cool thing about
super critical too. I just want to point this out too. When you're looking at these results in the equity curves, not only should you be very concerned about like steep drawdowns, like really steep curves like that, steep up curves like that as well, aren't necessarily a great thing either. Because imagine you're trading this and you missed that big spike up. Well, then you're not going to be enjoying the same kind of profits that this curve looks like. So just be aware when you're back testing to look at kind of both.
Right. Yeah. And so one of the other things that I was looking at when I was rehearsing for this is looking at the hour of day. This can show you some interesting data as well. And so we can see during the majority of the day, right, the system is making money, and it seems that it's that last trade of the day that's losing all the money, right? So with NinjaTrader, you can sort this data by hour of day, right, or even half hour of the day, or day of the week. So we can see which day of the week is the most profitable. And wow, Tuesdays are wildly more successful. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are a lot more successful than Fridays. So it's neat how you can pick apart this data here. But the one I thought was interesting was this last trade of the day, is just the big loser. So what if we just cut that last hour of trading out? Maybe we can cut out this big loser here. And so if we want to do that, let's go back into Blackbird, go into scheduling, right? And what I can do is I can just slide these blocks of time, slide them up, make them an hour shorter, right? I can cut off that last hour of the day. And actually, I don't want to shift it up. I actually want to make that block smaller. There we go. There. So I just basically trimmed off the last hour of every day. right? And so now, what the heck, let's see what happens there. You know, another iteration, you know, of this idea. Oop, hold on, I hit the wrong one. There we go. I need to hit reload. There we go. All right. Yeah, reload this and calculate another year of backtesting data. And we'll see if cutting off that last hour, see what kind of a difference that makes. Here. There we go. All right, so strategy performance, again, historical. And, you know, I really didn't point this out, but it did make a couple $100 more over the entire year, you know, only a couple $100. So it doesn't look like that did much. You know, if we look at the equity curve here, it looks pretty much the same.
Well, I would say it's actually a lot smoother, right? If you recall the other one, it really spiked up really, really hard, and then it was sideways for a while, and then went down. But if you notice, that what's very interesting is after kind of mid-June, it's just a very nice steady climb, and that's really what you want to see is stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I keep forgetting that point, that this is a little smoother here. It did kind of smooth this out a little bit more. But let's go back to hour of day, and still, you know, even though we clipped off the 2 p.m. hour, it's like this last trade of the day is still the big loser, you know. And yeah, so you know, maybe some statisticians can explain why that would be. You know, you would think logically that clipping that last hour of the day, you know, maybe helps. Or, oh, maybe it's this, right? I've got this forced trades to exit. So maybe we're closing the trade out too soon. Maybe we need to allow the trade, you know, to kind of finish out that last hour. You know, instead of taking new trades, you know, just let the trade finish out, and see if that makes any kind of improvement there. All right. So there's lots of ways, you know, that you can slice and dice, you know, a trading system. You know, there's a lot of ways that you can custom tailor, you know, each system there, and basically cycle through those iterations there. All right, let's pull this up again. And this time it dropped it, so now it's 13,000. So let's take a look at the equity curve. You know, it looks fairly similar, although there definitely was a deeper drawdown here in this June area here. But let's go back to hour of the day. And yeah, so we're still getting this big loser, you know, at the end of the day here with this last trade here. So yeah. So anyways, you know, the point being here, you know, is we're not trying to sell you this as a trading system, but the point is just to demonstrate, you know, how easy it is to iterate in testing ideas. You know, maybe we need to put a stop loss back on this thing. So maybe if I put, you know, at the beginning I tested a 2 ATR. So maybe I need to test maybe a 3 ATR with this. So we'll just add that stop loss back in there and do a quick reload and see what happens. So, and I am kind of running out of time here, guys. So this will be the last kind of iteration here, and then I'm going to turn it back over to Jeremy. So, all right, there we go. So let's go back and see, did adding a stop loss back in help? Well, it's down to $12,000 now for the entire year. So, oh yeah, and look at this. There definitely are some larger drawdowns, you know, throughout the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
so
but look
apparently
at
this system,
shutdown. It's pretty good though. Yeah.
So
Post shutdown, I think, yeah, works pretty good.
Right. Yeah. This last part here is smoother, which is better. Now that look is definitely better, but each trader has their own concept of what kind of risk they're willing to take, everything like that. So making these decisions are personal to each of you guys, for sure. So all right. So if I haven't forgotten anything, Jeremy, I guess I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, I'm just gonna take the screen back. And cool. Yeah, I'm honestly, guys, that's pretty cool. Like we hope you can sort of see that actually backtesting is now fun. With tools like this, you can really just play around with it and just let your creativity go to town and try new things like really quickly, right? And that's the idea. Like that's why we build these tools, is to make the tedious stuff now fun and discoverable, right? And now you can just come up with like quick ideas on the fly, try them out, and see if they work. That's really the whole point. And then at the end of the day, you can choose to actually auto trade it, or like many of our customers actually prefer to do, they still prefer to do it discretionarily, because there's no requirement to actually trade it completely auto traded. Like with our software, you can trade it however you want. So you can actually use components of it, like maybe the entries will, you want the entries to be shown, and then you manually take the trade and do it from there. Or maybe you want the Blackbird to actually just manage the trade after you've told it to go in, like on a discretionary basis. So really the power is kind of in your hands. And actually, just before I move on, just a quick, I'm going to answer someone's question really quick. Someone's asking if this is available for MetaTrader 4 or other platforms. Just at the moment, it's just NinjaTrader only. We've sort of just stuck with one racing horse, and just sunk kind of all our development and resources and efforts into just perfecting it on one platform, rather than sort of spreading ourselves a little too thin. Now, so moving along, what you saw there, of course, Zach has been using our software for quite some time, so he's been able to very quickly throw that together. I do want to impress upon you that as a company, one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is the support. And if you talk to any of our customers, they will tell you that our support is top notch. Not only do we have like a ton of online documentation, videos, like hundreds of hours, I'm not exaggerating, and free workshops that are run by Zach himself, as well as email support. And all these things are available not just to customers, but also non-customers. You're free to just go in and jump into a workshop if you so please. Perhaps you're trying out our software before buying. We also have we have a bit of an ecosystem ourselves. There's a lot of professional traders and coaches actually use our software to trade their own particular trade system. And so they're also teachers as well and trading coaches. And you can learn through them. And finally, we actually do one-on-one trading for a fairly reasonable fee, if you kind of prefer that white-gloved approach. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up pretty quick, and we're going to go into questions. But before I do, I want to just mention that Black Friday is around the corner, and we do have a Black Friday sale offer. And to get there, you just go to our website, sharkindicators.com/Black Friday, or just go to our website. There's a huge red button there. It'll take you to our Black Friday deals. And this will be available until the end of November. But you can actually get either one tool or both tools. So again, Bloodhound was the signal generator. This is the indicator. Blackbird is the trader, basically the trade management software, which physically trades this, puts the orders on, manages the trade, does risk management and other things that we didn't get time to show you. Or you can actually just go ahead and get the bundle, which comes combines both of them. So Black Friday is, generally speaking, our most aggressive sale of the year. So if you're just getting into our ecosystem or learning about us, your timing couldn't be better. For those of you that have been tracking us for a while, you'll quickly learn that we don't discount our stuff very often. It's really on just special occasions like this. So make your way over there if you want to take advantage of the Black Friday sale. And I will say one more thing just to impress upon you that we do stand by our products. We have a 100% money back guarantee. That's going to take the risk out of any purchase you make, even for Black Friday. If you just, just so that you can take advantage of the sale, and try it out. And if it's just not for you, just ask us to refund your money. No big deal. We actually don't get very many refunds, but we've been doing this for pretty much as long as I can remember, and it's never been an issue for us. Some people maybe just have a change of heart in trading in general and just say, your software is fine, I love it, but futures trading is just not for me. No problem there either. So yeah, again, I'll just say our Black Friday sale is at our website, sharkindicators.com, and just hit that big red button, and it's right there. So actually, how much time we got for questions? Q&A, Zach, how much time we got there?
Jeremy, before we forget, do you have the link to download the Rocket RSI indicator for everybody?
You know what? I do not remember where that was. Let me see if I can dig that up while you're.
Well, yeah, I think look in the Skype chat with Keith. I think he put it in there a while ago.
Okay.
And I'll answer some questions. I'll start answering some questions here while you're looking for that. So let's see here. Let me start from the top and try and work my way down here. We always kind of get the question here. Does the system work with basically NinjaTrader's optimizer? And no, unfortunately not. Ninja's optimizer requires hard-coded systems. Right? So unfortunately, the optimizer doesn't have the ability to work with Bloodhound's dynamic nature, right? The nature of Bloodhound is you can go in here and you can switch out any indicator, at any time, so all your indicators can be changing dynamically, your solvers. Well, I guess if you're optimizing, you're wanting to optimize for indicators, so those are changeable dynamically. And unfortunately, NinjaTrader's, optimizer, if you pull up any kind of NinjaTrader window, and this is, with all kind of platforms here, with all platforms, if you look at an indicator, let me select the Rocket RSI, right? You have hard-coded properties here, and those will never change, right? This indicator its settings or its input variables are never going to change. But with Bloodhound, since you're always changing the indicators, you would always be changing what's called a property grid. So unfortunately, NinjaTrader's kind of static property grid doesn't lend itself to working with a dynamic indicator like Bloodhound. So, and that's also, it kind of points out that Bloodhound really is in a new class of indicator by itself there. There's nothing out there like Bloodhound. So, all right. So anyways, that's the optimizer. I see there's some people in the room here who have been to the workshop. So thank you, tenders, for those.
Quickly interject there, Zach.
You got it. Okay, great.
The link to the Rocket RSI download, I put it in the chat. And it's basically just sharkindicators.com. That's our website, /rocket-RSI. And it should be in the chat. Can anybody sort of let me know if they see that?
I don't see it in the chat.
Yeah, let me see what I'm trying again here. Okay, so people saying they can see it. Okay, so as long as you guys can see it. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so let's continue with the questions here. We definitely have some technical questions. So Granny Med, yeah, I was just commenting, I guess, a while back here saying that Indicator Warehouse has the DTS Roadrunner system that it says is excellent for Bloodhound. All right, well, that's good to know. Yeah, let's see here. We have Tenders is asking if we run Blackbird, yeah, if we're running the Blackbird strategy, can we trade manually while Blackbird is, doing its own thing, while Blackbird's trading in the background? Yeah, that's actually more of a NinjaTrader technical question. But yes, strategies kind of run in their own memory space. Strategies kind of run in their own little isolated world. So yeah, so you can always trade manually, using NinjaTrader's Super DOM, or you could even pull up, another chart, of the RTY. So I have the RTY. So you could pull up another chart of the RTY, and you could turn on the chart trader, or bring up a Super DOM and do your own discretionary trading while Blackbird's doing its own thing as well. Yeah. And also, yeah, I mean, there's a lot to Blackbird that we don't have time to cover, but Blackbird does have if you decide to use Blackbird as an auto trader, you don't have to use it as an auto trader, but if you do have these easy, on and off buttons here. So you can turn the auto trading capability on and off, very quickly and easily without having to turn the strategy off, so those little simple things like that. So, all right, next question. Yeah, go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, I was just going to answer the N1144. Asked if it only works with the close of the bar. And so, no, it works with, I'll just say both products will work just fine with the intra or on a tick basis. You just have to configure it slightly differently in the when you put it onto the chart. But yeah, it's certainly designed to work intra bar as well. However, when it comes to backtesting, just the way the nature of the backtesting, like the way NinjaTrader is designed to speed up backtesting calculations, it will calculate based off the end of the close of the bar and use its own proprietary algorithm to determine the fill. So there's a slight distinction there, in at least the backtesting results.
Yeah, so I'm showing my screen again here. So yeah, you can see a Blackbird, Blackbird has the calculate setting here. So you can put Blackbird on bar close, on each tick, or on price change, whatever, however your system needs, and this is critical because depending on the indicator you're using, for example, if you're using some kind of order flow or volume footprint type of indicator, almost all of those indicators require your system to run on each tick. So just a little side note there that, yeah, if you are using volume profile, or order flow type indicators, most of those do require the calculate to be to be run on each tick, right? So again, these are NinjaTrader, type of questions here. So yeah. All right, next question. And yeah, I guess let me just kind of clarify that Jeremy touched on this question before. Does Bloodhound Blackbird work with any third-party indicator? Yeah, again, it does, as long as that indicator outputs data. So not all indicators output data. So, and the easiest way to know is, if your indicator is plotting on the chart, if your indicator has a plot, so if I pull up the indicators list, right, we can see this plot section here, then that's a clear indication that the indicator will work just fine with Bloodhound and Blackbird. So, yeah. All right, so there's that one.
Yeah, I'll say just a quick comment about the strategy analyzer for the optimizer in NinjaTrader. That's something that's we are going to be looking into supporting. But as you can imagine, with a software like Bloodhound and Blackbird, there's many sort of configurable parameters that that can be you can choose to have optimized. And so where we're working towards is a easy way to present to the user how to select which properties are going to be in those optimizations. And really, that's more the challenge that we're facing right now. But just know, although while it's not being supported right now, it's something that we are looking to do in the future. And that sort of brings me another point: is our software is constantly evolving, and we're constantly adding new features, fixing bugs, doing all sorts of things with it. And so kind of once you're kind of in our ecosystem, you'll sort of realize that, yeah, I mean, since the first iterations of our software and many years ago, there's been quite a few enhancements. So we have a fairly different, I guess you could say, software model than what's typical maybe in the industry.
So, all right, yeah. So another question here is, gee, I have no idea how to pronounce this name, so I'll just I'll skip the name. But it's asked, is it possible to have profit targets based on indicator signals? So technically not an indicator signal, but you can base your profit target off of an indicator. So if your indicator is literally, plotting the price of where your profit target should be, then yeah, you can definitely do that. I can select, set the mode to indicator value. And, so for example, we could set the profit target at the SMA, or some other moving average, if that's pertinent. But, this person here probably has a custom indicator that's plotting where the profit target should go. And yeah, you can just plug that right into, Blackbird like that. So yeah, so that's possible as well. But also, if you have an indicator that calculates volatility, so like the ATR, right, calculates volatility in terms of points. So when you're looking at the ATR in your chart, it's showing you volatility in points of whatever chart you have up. So in the offset section, that's where the ATR goes, because the ATR is not the price of the profit target, right? It's not the price of the instrument. It's the volatility of the instrument in terms of points. So if you have, some kind of indicator like that, that's calculating some kind of an offset in points, but not the actual price, then that would go down here. So, but yeah, if you just have a regular indicator, you can change the mode to indicator and then go and select your custom indicator and set your profit targets that way. A classic example is with the stop loss. Let me get rid of this one here. So if you're familiar with the parabolic SAR, right, that's an old-fashioned form of an indicator that calculates a stop loss, but you could go in there and, a lot of people ask about the super trend. So so if you're using the super trend to set your stop loss, right, there is the lizard indicator super trend, U11 right there. You can select that and set your stop loss, to the super trend indicator, and have your indicator trail that way using the super trend. So you can do the same thing with profit targets, and entry orders as well. So obviously, if you're using a limit entry order, you could have your entry order, follow a moving average, and wait for some kind of moving average bounce, for a market to do a pullback to a moving average, and bounce off of it. So so you can trail your entry orders as well, have those follow an indicator. So, all right, let's see what the next question is.
Actually, BB Ability asked about the AI Generate tool. It's a new kind of experimental tool from NinjaTrader. And I'll be honest, I haven't personally had much time or to examine this in detail. But for as far as I can tell, what it does do is it's just really quickly using a genetic algorithm, which is in computer science is one of the most kind of most rudimentary forms of AI. It's been around since the 80s. Essentially picks as a quick way to just filter out and find combinations of entry signals very relatively quickly, rather than just doing kind of all at once. So I would say it's not necessarily the AI Generate tool would be the way I could sort of see someone using it would be to come up with maybe a baseline idea. If you have a blank slate, you have no idea what kind of system you're going to build, you could use that tool to just maybe come up with the top 5 or 10 systems that you would study more in depth. You know, it's a great kind of starting point. However, by no means is the AI Generate tool any sort of auto trader or any kind of like it's not gonna really create a full-blown trading system for you by any means. So what you could do is actually use it to come up with some great ideas just as a starting point, and then take it further with some real analysis using maybe tools like ours to do the actual backtesting tools based off perhaps some ideas that you've garnered from their new AI Generate tool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just some comments coming in here. Yeah, Terry's saying it's getting close to closing time. Yeah, so let's try and whip through some of these other comments here or questions.
Just quickly, just a couple people are asking for that link to the Rocket RSI, and I'm not sure if can you guys see it. It's if you go to.
No, I have my screen sharing right now, Jeremy.
Oh, okay.
No. Go ahead. So yeah, so what you'll get is an email. You'll get emailed. I forget if the indicator is going to get emailed back to you, but you'll get an email back. So yeah, so just look in your email, and you'll get an email back for the Rocket RSI. Yeah, there's a couple of people saying that there's no download link.
Oh, okay.
I just tried that link and it's giving me a page not found.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
We'll just I'll take that with Keith real quick here and see if you can get that fixed for you guys. Sorry about that.
Yeah, bummer. All right, yeah. So let me try and whip through some of these other questions here. Let's see. Does Bloodhound and Blackbird work with cumulative delta indicators? Yes, it actually works with NinjaTrader's order flow cumulative delta indicator, and in our experience, it does work with other, if not most of all the other cumulative delta indicators. It does work with GAMI's cumulative delta. And there's order flow analytics. It works with theirs. You know, we can't really say specifically who it does and does not work with, because obviously we would have to have a copy of their indicator to test it ourselves. You know, so the best thing to do is, you know, if you have some third-party company, you know, order indicators just in general, you know, ask the owner of that company, you know, whether their indicators work with Bloodhound. Now, you know, and that's the best way to kind of find out. So, all right, let's see what else we got here. Let's see a little comment here. It says fun, ? Maybe better, but not fun. Yeah, I gotta say, yeah, backtesting probably is not fun. But hopefully we got a better way here. let's see. Will Blackbird prompt you instead of auto trading? No, Blackbird doesn't provide a prompt, but if you're using Bloodhound, you can see here, on the chart that you get what we call racing stripes. So you get these very clear, green and red signals, so I guess I would consider those prompts. So you can get the Bloodhound signal prompts, and then trade it from there. All right. So, all right, let's see what else you got here. All right, crucial question.
Did you answer the one about the Blackboard works on volume bars, range bars?
Oh, no, not yet. Yeah, I was kind of working my way down. I'm working my way down to it, but yeah, our tools work on any chart type. If you can create a chart, if you can put bars on the chart, then Bloodhound and Blackbird will work with it. There does seem to be this misperception that indicators only work with certain types of bar types. And I don't know, maybe there are some indicators out there, but that only work with certain bar types, but generally that is very, very rare. So typically any indicator will work with any bar type. And so Bloodhound and Blackbird will definitely work with any bar type.
Okay, just a quick update. So we'll get that link in the email for the Rocket R site working for you guys. I apologize for that, but just hang tight, and we'll have that all resolved.
All right. Well, I think we got through all the questions here. Yeah.
Okay. Mert MJ is just asking, how do I get the indicator in there? I don't suppose, Zach, you have the link on the NinjaTrader website on how to import indicators somewhere, do you?
How do you get it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, basically you just follow NinjaTrader's, typical importing process, which you go to Tools. So from the Control Center, you go to Tools, go to Import, and just about everything is going to be a NinjaScript add-on. So indicators, strategies, things like that, those are all NinjaScript add-ons. So you just click on that, and then NinjaTrader is going to check the system, and then from there you can then select whatever indicator you want to import, and it's going to be a zip file. So that's simply it. So again, Tools, Import, NinjaScript add-on.
Mert, I guess if you're having trouble, just shoot a quick, open up a quick support ticket for us. We'll help you out with getting the Rocket RSI in there for you. Just support at sharkindicators.com. Yeah, okay. I think we're gonna get cut off here pretty soon. Is there anything else we want to say before we wrap it up?
No, I think we got through all the questions. Yeah. So, well, yeah, I guess I'll just wrap it up. Again, guys, if you got in late here, we do. This is Zach. So I host a weekly training workshop. So if you're curious to see more about Bloodhound or Blackbird, learn a little bit more. These are open workshops. These are open to the public here, and you can see there's a registration link to register, for the webinar, and you'll get an email an hour before the workshop opens. Right? And so everybody's welcome to come in, ask their questions, see how things work. So there you go. So again, the training workshop here is support and training workshops. So again, this is on the Shark Indicators website. So support training workshops. So
Yeah,
there
and
you go.
just quickly as well, just before we leave here, just maybe Zach, just go to the front page and show the Black Friday link again. Not that you can miss it, but it's just right off our front page. And again, if you're just kind of learning about us right now, your timing couldn't be more perfect. But we're having the Black Friday deal run to the end of the month. So
Yeah, there we go.
okay.
Awesome, guys. Thank you. Thank you for the
Yeah.
information and for spending some time with us this evening.
Yeah, thanks, Terry. Thanks for
Yeah,
letting
thanks,
us
Terry.
go overboard. Yeah.